Guys, in today's video, I want to share with you 6 powerful beginner tattoo artist tips that honestly I wish someone had shared with me when I started, which is almost 7 years ago now. Guys, let's get into it. Guys, the first thing I want to talk to you about is the stroke length of your machine and how that is important for the tattoos that you're doing. Now, if you don't know what stroke is, the stroke is how far the tattoo needle actually moves back and forth. So you'll find that a short stroke will move maybe 2.5 millimeters, which is quite short. And you'll have a longer stroke, which is normally about 4.5 millimeters, which actually gives you more penetration on your needle when you're doing your tattoos. And so what you'll find is a longer stroke is better for line work, and a shorter stroke is better for doing shading and color packing and stuff like that. And this is why with coil machines you see liner machines and shader machines, because one of them has a long stroke, one of them has a short stroke. So short stroke being the shader and the longer stroke being the liner. You've got a medium stroke as well, which is, as I say, about 3.5 millimeters. And this is quite versatile. This can kind of do a bit of everything. So I would recommend, if you're looking to get a new tattoo machine or your first tattoo machine, that you either 1, get a medium stroke machine, 2, get 2 machines, so 1 short stroke, 1 long stroke, or you can get a machine with a variable stroke, which means you can adjust it as you go. So that's something to look out for, guys. The next thing I want to share with you is about when to rinse your needles. Now, there seems to be a bit of conflicting information online about this one, and it's not something that's broadly covered. So I want to give you a few examples of when you should be rinsing your needle. So kind of 3 scenarios I'd like to give you. So the first one is when you're taking a break, because what you'll find is that if you're taking a break for half an hour, or whatever, you are going to find that the ink is going to dry up on that needle, and that is going to affect the ink flow when you start up tattooing again. Another example of when you want to rinse your needle is when you're going into a lighter tone. So let's say you're doing black and grey and you've got your different tones set up. I normally recommend just having 3 tones. I mean, we'll see people that are a bit fancy and they might have like 10 different tones. I think that's overkill, to be honest, and it's not really going to make a massive difference. But guys, you can work however you like. If that's what you want to do, then don't listen to me. But I like to work with 3 different shades for my black and grey. And what you'll find is if you're dipping from like a heavy black into your lightest tone, you're actually going to darken that tone up pretty quickly, because depending on how much ink is in that cartridge, that's just going to spill into your lighter tone. So you want to make sure that you are rinsing out that needle before you're dipping into your lighter tones. When you're going up a tone, it doesn't really matter as much, because there's a lot less chance of you sort of contaminating that tone with a lighter colour. It's not really going to have an effect. Another one is, of course, when you're changing tones with colour inks. You'll find that you can get away with just rinsing and dipping into a different shade of colour if it is a similar colour, but you're better off just using a separate needle for these tones. But just make sure that you're rinsing your needles whenever you're changing the tone of colour, as well as just your black and grey. So guys, something to look out for. Any questions at all, just pop them in the comments. As you know, I'm always happy to answer your questions in depth. Guys, let's move on to the next tip. Guys, the next tip is about different skin types. So what you'll find is that there's a lot of different factors that will affect your tattoo. So it can be the client's age, can be the client's ethnicity, can just be their general skin type. You'll find that people have sensitive skin as well. It can be related to health, it can be related to, sometimes people can just have a sensitive skin day. Guys, if someone's got sensitive skin, you'll find that the skin is going to swell up really quickly. And that means that you can't work on that area, leave it, and then come back to it again like a few minutes later, or even for the rest of the day, to be honest, because once you've hit that skin, it is irritated and you need to move on. So it's always very good practice to start your tattoos from the bottom up, or just from one area, and then work your way out. That is so that you are not going back and forth and touching those areas of the skin, because you can get away with that with some people, but if they've got sensitive skin, you're going to mess that tattoo up, guys. So always good practice to start your tattoos kind of like a printer. So start from the bottom and work your way up. That's mainly because you don't want to rub the stencil off, so normally we start from the bottom, but always good practice, guys, to do that. So hit the area, move on, and don't come back to it unless you really have to, because if someone has got sensitive skin, that is going to cause you major dramas, guys. So that's something to look out for, guys. It's very key that you change your approach depending on the skin type. I mean, one thing you'll find is that if you're tattooing someone that's quite young, maybe like 18, 19 years old, their skin has got a lot of bounce and a lot of elasticity. Sometimes the needle's literally just bouncing off the skin. So that is going to be completely different to someone who has got more aged skin. obviously I don't want to offend anyone here, but obviously as you age, your skin loses its elasticity. So if you're tattooing someone that's 60 years old or so, that is going to be completely different to tattooing someone who's younger. It's actually easier because you'll find that the ink just flows in really nicely, as opposed to someone that's a bit younger. So you do want to take a bit of a firmer approach with younger skin and a lighter approach with older skin. Guys, the next tip I want to share with you is a very important one, and something that no one's really going to tell you guys. And this is about marketing and you're developing your personal brand. So guys, tattooing is three things. It's a service trade, it's an art form, and it is your personal brand. And as with all art forms, guys, being the best artist is only going to get you so far. You need to work on your marketing, guys, so that you can maximize your exposure and your amount of clients, and ultimately the amount of money and success that you're going to get out of tattooing. One thing I really recommend is getting yourself a good logo. You can get this off Fiverr, or you can make it yourself, whatever. But a good logo is, for any business, very important. Another thing that you want to do is get business cards. Guys, you'll get so many clients from handing out business cards. It's actually crazy. People like to get tattoos from people that they've met, and they like to get the gist of someone. And if you meet a lot of people and you're out networking, stuff like that, get those business cards out there, guys. Trust me, you get so many clients. It is crazy. You also, as I say, you want to get your logo. You want to work on your whole personal brand, guys. Do make sure that you've got a separate personal Instagram to your business Instagram. That is quite key, guys, because that is going to affect your whole marketed presence. The next thing I want to share with you is about tattooing your friends when you start out. Now, you'd think that this is a good idea, obviously you can get good experience from tattooing your friends and they'll be happy to be guinea pigs and stuff like that, and kind of makes sense. But an issue is, guys, is that your first tattoos are not going to be your best work, and your friends are going to act as an advert for you, and people are going to judge your artwork based on those tattoos. And also those tattoos, you're gonna have to see them all the time. It's gonna follow you around for your whole career, guys. So make sure that you are not tattooing your friends until you are ready. You're not gonna be able to hide from those tattoos, guys, because no one is gonna forgive the fact that you were a beginner when you did those tattoos. So, and obviously it's better to try and do these in areas that are not gonna be exposed constantly. So that's something to look out for, guys. Not something that many people are going to share with you, but it's definitely an issue. Guys, I always recommend that you tattoo yourself when you're starting out, and obviously your fake skin. So every artist is different, so you'll find that some people completely disagree with this and they say you shouldn't tattoo yourself. But I mean, how is anyone else going to trust you to do a tattoo on them if you can't even trust yourself to do a tattoo on your own body? So for me, it makes perfect sense. Tattoo yourself, guys. It's the best way to learn when you're starting out, because fake skin does not bleed, it does not stretch, and it's nothing like real skin. This is the first tattoo I ever did on my leg. There's another tattoo that I'd started, which was on my forearm. I also tattooed my own fingers. Guys, I have actually done a really bad tattoo on myself as well, which I've actually had it half lasered. And now I'm just kind of leaving it like all fucked up and lasered off. It's better to mess these tattoos up on yourself than on your friends or someone else, guys. So something to look out for. So when you're starting out, you might want to give people cheap tattoos. I actually don't think you should do this, guys. I think that you should take the approach of giving out free tattoos, or accepting donations. Because what happens is, if you're actually charging people a rate like you're a professional, or you're someone who's making money off it, that's actually going to stick with these clients. And if they ever come back, you're going to struggle to raise your prices, and it's actually going to cause you a bit of bother, guys. So my advice is, have the approach that you're going to tattoo for free, or you're going to tattoo and accept donations, or you're going to just charge for the travel costs and the equipment or whatever. But don't start charging people a cheap rate, like $30 or whatever for a tattoo, because they're going to expect that the whole time. If you're undercutting other artists by just doing dirt cheap tattoos, not only does that say a lot about you and that you don't value your own artwork, but that is also not good for the industry as a whole. So guys, make sure that you're charging a fair rate, or you're not charging at all. Guys, that's just my advice. You do whatever you want to do, but any questions, do pop those in the comments, and I'm happy to help you. I'm here to give you great content, guys, and to help you out on your tattoo journeys. Good luck with it all, and I'll catch you next time.